So, may I come in?
Come in.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sumer. Have your seat.
Thank you, sir.
We have been meeting since yesterday, but since now we are formally face to face with each other, give your brief introduction.
Sir, myself, Sumer Virk. I am from Ludhiana. I did my engineering from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh. I love reading non-fiction books and exploring subjects related to armament, warfare, and strategic studies.
Nice to know that after doing your engineering, you are interested in, you are given a long list, if I can read it out, arms, armament, military studies.
Yes, sir. Even during my engineering days, I did my projects related to these subjects.
These subjects.
Yes, sir.
So we'll discuss few things about these subjects only. And as you have done your project, the soft armor plating protection
Yes, sir.
in tanks.
Yes, sir.
Now, you know, the tank as a weapon of war. Now there is a lot of debate.
Yes, sir.
Earlier, there used to be tanks weighing in the range of 45, 60, maximum 75 tons.
Yes, sir.
Then came Indian tank, which was weighing something like 90 tons. Now, and there is a reversal of that strategy. Now we are going back. In fact, India has just signed an agreement. You have been talking about Defense Acquisition Council.
Yes,
They have approved procurement of a tank weighing as less as just 40 tons.
Yes, sir.
So why this change in strategy? First lighter tanks to heavier and getting back to olden days. And coupled with this, is tank losing its relevance as a platform of firepower vis-a-vis drones? Because now we have seen a recent war which is going on, as well as Azerbaijan and Armenia war.
Yes, sir.
That drone swarming was carried out at a massive scale, and people started thinking, the strategic thinker, which you also claim to be headed in that direction. Do you think that the days of the tank as a platform of firepower are gone vis-a-vis drone, or still it holds its place?
Sir, first of all, regarding weight, it is with respect to the strategic challenges that India has identified. Initially, we procured Soviet tanks like of T-72 and T-90. They have been built keeping in mind the weak infrastructure in Soviet Union as well as ease of manufacturing. So the average weight of the T-series tanks is close to 40-45 tons. Whereas the Western tanks, they include greater protection, but they also cost more. So they weigh close to 60-70 tons, the likes of Abrams, Challenger 2 and Leopard 2. So the Arjun was developed when there were rumors that Pakistan is going to procure the Abrams tank. And the design was influenced by the Leopard 2 tank. But since last 5 or 6 years, the relations with Pakistan as far as the border is concerned, they have improved, as stated by the DGCA, that the ceasefire violations have decreased to a great extent. But at the same time, the challenges on the Chinese frontier have increased. The terrain and the geography on the Chinese side is difficult, and is difficult as far as transportation of tanks is concerned, as well as movement of armor is concerned. So there the army is looking for tanks that are lightweight, likes of 30-35 ton tanks, and even Russia offered its Sprut 35-ton tank to India. So that's how our decision making has been shaped. Second, there is always this debate between armor and penetration. It is the debate between anti-tank missiles and tank, between air defense system and aircraft. So this debate keeps on evolving. In certain time period, one weapon system is able to gain an advantage over the other. Since the introduction of third generation guided missiles like Javelin and Spike that are able to attack in extended range as well as able to attack in the top-down mode, the tanks have been at a great disadvantage. But if we look at a combination of lethality firepower, protection, and mobility, there is no better system than tanks. Instead of phasing out tanks, what the Indian Army is doing is introducing better protection systems, such as the active protection system rather than the passive that we currently have. And as far as drone is concerned, this reflects the changing nature of the warfare. Earlier, war was fought in 3 domains: air, land, sea, and the US evolved its air, land, sea doctrine in the 1970s, on which our theaterization plan is based. But currently, 4 more domains such as cyber, space, hypersonic, and AI have evolved. And what we are seeing is just the start of that revolution.
IW also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, since you are a keen student of armament and tanks, as far as the tank barrel is concerned,
yes,
or for that matter, even artillery barrels, there are 2 technologies: a smooth bore and rifled bore.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between 2, and which one you think is better?
Sir, initially when we had simple warheads, the rifled barrel was preferred because it is able to give spin to the projectile, thereby ensuring...
Why you require a spin to the projectile?
Sir, it ensures greater momentum during the projectile, that it is not able to deviate on its path. It follows
accuracy, basically.
Yes, sir. Accuracy is the main reason. But since the development of armor-piercing, fin-stabilized warheads, there is preference to go for the smoothbore barrel. The smoothbore barrel offers the advantages of greater range and greater power, since some amount of energy is lost in the rifled section.
So, as far as a shell is concerned, whether it is armor shell or artillery shell, there are 2 major components. One is the warhead, which has got a charge.
Yes, sir.
And then there is a propellant. What is the difference between the charge and the propellant?
Sir, I am not able to recall the exact. While one is used for ejecting of the projectile, the second bursts through, causing sharpener attack and initiation of shockwave, which destroys the opponent.
Okay, propellant, I think you are more or less on the right lines. There are 3 different ways of carrying out the initiation of a propellant. One is burning, the second is flagration, and third one is detonation. What is the difference between these 3?
Sir, usually as far as detonation is concerned, we use 2 types of charges, the primary explosive and secondary explosive. Usually the threshold energy of primary explosive is so high that we are not able to provide that. So we provide that energy using a secondary explosive. For example, RDX is used to provide energy for any nitrogen based compounds that are used as a propellant. And this is especially true when we are testing.
Major difference between RDX and TNT?
Sir, with respect to chemical composition, whereas TNT is a compound of nitrogen, the RDX does not contain nitrogen.
Which is more lethal?
RDX is more lethal, sir.
Okay. So much so about the armament and arms. Now about what else you have mentioned here? Military strategy.
Yes, sir.
As far as military strategy is concerned, I'd like to know from you. Recently, not only in Indian Army but armed forces, Air Force and Navy also, we have gone in for, as far as the recruitment of manpower is concerned, the concept of Agniveers has been introduced.
Yes, sir.
Is it a correct move? If so, if yes, why? If no, why?
Sir, it's a bold step and it reflects the changing nature of warfare. The Chinese have reduced its military standing from 25 million to about 20 million. And similar is the steps being taken by other advanced militaries, be it US, be it Germany, be it UK. Since the start of the 21st century, we have seen that the emphasis on soldier has increased, but the emphasis on advanced technology of the armament is concerned, that has increased. And according to the army chief, Indian army currently has about 45% of vintage era weapons, whereas only 15% of our weapon system is state of the art, that we can classify as modern. So with an aim of spending more amount of money towards capital expenditure rather than revenue expenditure, this step has been taken. Apart from that, it also brings in an added advantage of competition. When 4 recruits are going to fight for one place, then everyone will try their best to emerge as the winner.
You talked about obliquely. You mentioned about theaterization.
Yes, sir.
In the U.S. Army and perhaps other advanced armies of the world.
Yes, sir.
Is Indian Defense Forces are also headed in that direction?
Yes, sir.
So, if yes, what has been happening, and is it going to be strategically a wise move? If yes, how?
Sir, there is a consensus between the Army, Air Force, and Navy regarding theaterization, but there is no.
What is theaterization?
Sir, it involves combining the capabilities of Army, Air Force, and Navy.
That is already there. We have joint warfare strategies right at the MOD level. So, what on ground realistically is going to change when you carry out theaterization of the armed forces?
Sir, it's similar to the tri-services command that are there in
that is already there.
Sir, but that has not been replicated on the Indian mainland. You are laying your objectives clearly and then you are preparing for that. Rather than, as Air Force is guided by its 2014 doctrine, where it states that its aim is to ensure air superiority and strike ground targets. Second, the Army is guided by its 2018 doctrine, which states that making thrust into the enemy territory and then holding on to them. So, since India has not been able to add to its kitty as far as equipment is concerned, there has been talks that we need to increase the efficiency of all these stuff is concerned. So that's the reason for drive for theaterization is concerned, to increase jointness and co-workability as far as General Bipin Rawat's recommendations were concerned. He recommended creation of 4 theater commands, 1 for maritime, 1 for China, 1 for Pakistan, and 1 air defense. Now there is a lot of debate surrounding that, because the Air Force was not happy with this proposal, because it was relegated to the secondary position, and a lot of its assets were also divided by the creation of an independent command in as far as J&K sector is concerned. Recently, the proposal is to have 4 commands like Eastern, Western, Maritime, and Air Defense.
Okay. You feel that after doing your BTech in metallurgy and a related field, you are the right fit, and one day as a bureaucrat, you want to join Defense Acquisition Council. Yes. What is that, and how you are going to contribute effectively as basically as an engineer in the Defense Acquisition Council? And firstly, what it is?
Sir, it is the premier body that decides on the acquisition of defense weapons from the armed forces. It analyzes what are the challenges, it analyzes what the requirements are, and then based on what the budgetary support is there, it procures the necessary weapon system. I, being an engineer, I believe that I will be able to have a good balance of not only administrative skills but scientific skills as well.
Okay. Lastly, about the military strategy, which you said is my favorite topic. China has been provoking India. Yes, since 2020 onward. Firstly in Eastern Ladakh, and very recently in Arunachal. What do you feel at the strategic level? What is the thinking at PLA level, and what is India's response appropriate, or how India is geared to face this strategic threat from China?
So the Chinese have been following salami slicing tactics. They successfully showed them in the South China Sea, and they wanted to replicate in the Indian territory as well. What Chinese approach has been there to occupy key Indian territories and then go for talks. If they suppose occupy 100 square kilometer of land, they are going to ensure that 50 they are going to leave, and 50 square kilometer is going to be created as new buffer zone. So they are trying to alter the status quo. There are 2 major sectors in which Chinese ingress has been found: the western sector as far as Ladakh is concerned, and eastern sector as far as the likes of Arunachal Pradesh is concerned. Now in the Yangtze region and Doklam region, India enjoys strategic advantage as far as its positioning is concerned. So the aim there of the Chinese thinkers is go in for propagation and then ensure that there is greater deployment of forces in the Nepha region. For example, initially, as far as the Arunachal border was concerned, it was manned by paramilitary forces, the Tibetan border guards on the side of Chinese. But
ITBP.
So no, on from the Chinese side also. ITBP.
From the Chinese side.
Yes, sir. So it has now been replaced by the Common Tibet Command, thereby increasing their potency. And as far as Ladakh is concerned, they want to take over the dominant heights, especially along the Depsang Plains and Galwan Valley, where major fight is going to occur in case it occurs. Now,
but do you think China now is slated to grow not more than 2 to 3%
yes, sir.
Economically, whereas India range is 6 to 7% at least?
Yes, sir.
Do you think, and with the kind of problems in the real estate sector, in big tech sectors, and the kind of migration out of China of various industries which is taking place, then internationally the backlash, then disputes with the in South China Sea, and then America, US taking on China on various the trade war and economic war and so many things, and supporting Taiwan. Do you think that China, in spite of so many constraints, still can pursue the strategic policy of salami slicing or whatever provocative actions? Can they sustain that kind of strategy for too long?
So there has been evolution in Chinese strategic thinking from hide your capabilities to bide your time under Deng Xiaoping. What we are seeing is Chinese socialism through Xi Jinping Tang, where they have introduced concepts such as aggressive diplomacy, also known as the wolf warrior diplomacy, the salami slicing tactics, use of BRI initiatives to leverage and enhance your hard power control over fellow countries. Now, China is facing many challenges, such as the challenges in real estate sector, the demographic crisis. For the first time, the Chinese population is going to fall this year. So these presents monumental challenge to the China. However, at the same time, the size of China is close to $16 trillion as far as GDP is concerned. And the Belt and Road Initiative should not just be confused as a physical extension of Chinese power. It also has digital extension, such as the concept of 5G, and the use of companies like Huawei.
But BRI, is India directly affected by BRI? Do you think so?
Sir,
China is again facing a lot of backlash. Now countries are waking up that they are being exploited, and it is a hegemonic move on the part of China to just grab the economy or the polity of those underdeveloped countries. Now, slowly this has happened in Sri Lanka. Pakistan is a classic example, and so many other African countries also. So, I don't think BRI, the way it was conceptualized by them 4 or 5 years back, it is headed in the right direction. What do you think?
So yes, number of incidents were raised. For example, the case of Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, and according to a recent World Bank reports, Chinese investment in BRI has fallen by 40% due to increased apprehensions. But the reality is that the developed countries and developing countries, especially in Asia and Africa, they need sources of financing so that they can spend on infrastructure. If the Western-led initiatives, the ones backed by World Bank or Build Back Better, does not take place, then the Chinese BRI is going to fill the vacuum. So I believe that US and its India, as far as they are concerned, we need to be proactive in providing support to countries as far as infrastructure is concerned. Otherwise, they will keep falling on traps. It is necessity of both the countries.
But still, you feel China is going to be as provocative and as aggressive on our northern and eastern borders as it has been so far?
So there has not been any significant setback as far as Chinese strategy is concerned. I think the preemptive actions that Indian Army took under Operation Shakti when it occupied strategic heights in Kailash range should be repeated so that India is able to maintain conventional superiority over China, and they are made to realize that their actions can have bearings. Unless and until this does not take place, I believe that they would continue to be provocative. And since you mentioned that China is going through a lot of problems, Xi Jinping thinks of nationalism as one of the solution on how to tide down on that descent. Hyper-nationalist China is dangerous not only for India, but for entire Indo-Pacific and world as well.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sumer.
Hello, ma'am.
You give a holistic description of the state you grew up in nutshell and be precise.
When I grew up in Punjab, it's known as the granary of the country. Farming here is the main occupation. It's not an occupation but a way of life. I grew up in Ludhiana, which is the industrial powerhouse of not only Punjab but India as well. During the COVID crisis, it contributed 70% to the manufacturing of the PPE kits. Apart from that, we have rich cultural and religious heritage and a bowling cauldron of various cultural identities.
Okay. The rich culture of Punjab and rich state of Punjab.
Yes.
Now, what happened? Punjab is not able to give the salaries to the people.
Punjab has been going through economic and political stagnation. The fruits of Green Revolution were not invested properly into the industrial sector. And in 1990s, Punjab was ranked number 1 GDP per capita, and now we have fallen to the 16th level. So that is one big issue that has plagued us. Lack of industrialization and large-scale migration have been the reasons as well as causes for this.
Even Ukta Punjab has got a lot to do to the present state of affairs.
Sir,
You must have seen that movie Ukta Punjab.
yes, sir. Yes.
Punjab.
Yeah, drug problem is one of the biggest.
Criminalization.
Yes, sir. Drug problem is one of the biggest issues that Punjab is facing. 2 surveys were conducted, one by the PGI and another by AIMS, and they arrived at a figure of 2 to 4%. How 2 to 4% of Punjab's population is addicted to drugs, but apart from that, close to 50% of population is also addicted to alcohol. So this has emerged as a big problem. But the bigger problem is that the nature of drug usage has also changed. Initially, during the British colonial time, we had usage of natural drugs such as the opium and poppy husk. But now it has given space to likes of heroin and other chemical-induced drugs, which not only reduce the age of individual, but it makes the individual hollow from inside, incapable of doing anything. So he just is a walking zombie.
Okay. Sumer, name 5 characteristics which will describe Sumer.
Loyalty, confidence, say active and eagerness to learn and passion to achieve something.
Okay, this is the full description, complete
Yes, ma'am.
description about Sumer.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever done a SWOT analysis?
No, ma'am, never.
Do you know about it?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Like identifying your strengths and weaknesses.
And SWOT, SWOT.
Sorry, ma'am, I haven't done that.
You haven't done it.
No, ma'am.
I think everyone should do it. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If I talk about this SWOT analysis about you, how can you pursue it? Strengths, so you told me.
Weaknesses. I'm not aware of them.
You are not aware. It is recommended for everyone. We should aware.
Ma'am, fitness is one of my weakness.
Fitness?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not weakness.
Could be better.
Yeah. I want to know 5 weaknesses about Sumer.
I, as an individual, continually strive to improve myself and not have any weaknesses. So, any issues that I faced, be it learning or I have tried to improve on that.
Today you go home and do your SWOT analysis.
Okay.
You take a paper and then start writing strengths, weaknesses. Think about seriously and sincerely on those issues. Okay. Sumer, do you feel India can be best global economy?
As far as global economy is concerned, India is offering something different to the traditional Western dominated narrative. The Western neoliberal ideas have just led to growing inequality that have been shown by the likes of Yellow Vest protest in France Occupy Wall Street. But the Indian model of economy, which is a balance between the market-led economy and socialism of Indian characteristics, is the one that ensures not only development in GDP terms, but also in terms of social development. For example, I'll quote the example of Walmart model. For every $1 of product that Walmart sells, close to 3 pence or 3 paisa goes into the hands of farmers. Whereas India has presented world with the Amul cooperative model. For every 1 rupee of product Amul sells, 70 paisa or 70% of money goes into the hands of farmers, thereby ensuring prosperity right at the bottom of the level, and not only concentration of money in hands of few individuals. And this has been repeated and emphasized at WEF and other global institutions by India's representatives.
Okay. When we study economics, there is one person who is known as the father of economics.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
Adam Smith.
Yeah. What he has given?
He gave the concept of laissez-faire, that the state should stay away from business. But we have to analyze his ideas in that context. He gave those ideas when the age of colonialism had started and there was increasing mercantilism as far as business policies were concerned. So, as a counter to that, he gave the theory of laissez-faire, advising the government to stay away so that it can reap the benefits of the Industrial Revolution and the Renaissance that had just hit the European society. His ideas continue to influence a number of different thinkers, likes of neoliberals, from which Reaganism, Thatcherism, and India's policies of liberalization, globalization, and privatization took off.
Okay. And do you know about after Adam Smith, who has come to criticize Adam Smith and define in the different words or a different way about economics?
Adam Smith's policies led to growing inequality, and the problems were witnessed during the Great Depression. So John Maynard Keynes came up with his economic vision that was different from what Adam Smith had advocated. And this can be understood that he gave greater role to the state. The state would play an active role, not just be a bystander. And how the state would behave during the counter-cyclic years. When there is growth, it's advisable for state to increase the taxes and collect the money. Whereas during the boom and during the bust years, it's better to follow counter-cyclic policies like increasing the spending on account of increased taxes that were collected during the boom years. That's what John Maynard Keynes said.
I think after Adam Smith, Marshall came. And he has given the welfare economics.
I'm not aware of.
You're not aware.
No, ma'am.
And what is the best, the definition, if we study economics, the best definition given by whom about economics?
I believe economics is the science of making correct decisions regarding allocation of resources.
Yeah. So how would you differentiate economics and economy?
I would say economy is more of a static concept, talking about the stock things like what is GDP. Whereas economics is a dynamic, like how you can improve particular thing and this.
There is a central problem in economics. What is that problem? The central problem.
I believe that since conditions keep on changing, there is no clear consensus on what is the best approach regarding allocation and distribution of resources is concerned. We have still not arrived whether socialism is good, whether capitalism is good, whether the neoliberal economic model is good. So I believe that this is the biggest issue that economics is facing. But
have you studied economics?
No, ma'am. Just for UPSC.
UPSC?
Yes, ma'am.
So in UPSC, I'm talking about there are two types of curves: indifference curve and isoquant curve.
I don't have any idea.
Now tell me the main problems, with the Indian economy. Recent one.
Since COVID struck, we had been facing a K-shaped recovery, whereas the bottom 50% of section has been hit more. that has been stated by the likes of surveys of CMIE as well as the periodic labor force survey. Rising inequality, as shown by the Oxfam report, is also one of the issues that continue to plague Indian economy. Productivity, which is referred to as the output that currently is there over the maximum output, is also low. It's currently stagnated around 75%, due to which new investments from private sector is not taking place.
Okay. So
Lack of skill is also one big issue that continues to plague Indian economy.
do we have solutions for these problems?
Yes, ma'am. We do have. The government has been taking various steps to increase demand as far as and bridge gaps at the local level. They have initiated steps like the production-linked incentive scheme to enhance manufacturing, which would also improve employment opportunities. They've also increased their share in the EPFO scheme, whereas they will be contributing some amount of that money towards people. Regulatory steps have also been taken. For example, the new labor laws that have been initiated for more ease of doing business, and other various skill missions have been launched. But apart from that, the base of all this is, unless and until we do not invest in health and education sector, this will just be a mirage. So tackling that, the government is investing vigorously in the social upliftment sector. For example, recently in January, we launched the aspirational blocks program, where instead of districts, we are taking block as a unit and trying to improve their social indicators, the KSI, the key social indicators, be it health, be it education. And so once we have a prosperous population that is adequately equipped with good health and good education, the economy will automatically go on an excellent trajectory, and the animal spirits that our Honorable Finance Minister talked about will be unleashed.
Okay. I think Indian economy is facing so many problems. One is cause, the other is effect, interrelated problems they are facing. But somehow I am more concerned with these two problems. So mainly from a long time, unemployment and poverty.
Yes, ma'am.
Very simple. These two terms. How can we eradicate poverty? And how can we have the solutions of there's so much unemployment?
According to the United Nations Development Program, since 1990, India has been able to pull 400 million people out of poverty. So the existing schemes are working, and we have been able to improve their standard of living. Even during COVID times, the WHO and IMF lauded India's model because we were able to ensure social protection for millions of people out there when even the Western countries were struggling. So I believe the journey is slow, but it's definitely on a positive path. As per recent World Bank reports, poverty rate in India, if we take the $1.2 limit, is less than 20%, and it is continuously decreasing year by year. Remember the second problem you mentioned about? Unemployment. Yes, ma'am. Unemployment is also one big issue because of the rising population. But I believe skilling the population and taking a lead in the emerging sector, as likes of 5G, AI is concerned, it will give us more jobs in that sector. But at the same time, we have to expand our manufacturing sector and make agriculture sector remunerative. If we are able to make our agriculture sector remunerative, we are not only going to reduce poverty, but at the same time, we will be able to provide meaningful jobs and employment opportunity to millions of people out there.
Okay. But we are watching our, maximum youngsters, they are unemployed.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a serious concern.
Manufacturing sector is the bulwark which provides the employment. So I believe the expansion of manufacturing sector is crucial in this aspect. But at the same time, they are unemployed because of the unremunerative nature of Indian agriculture sector. We only look at the services and industrial sector as the one that are able to provide good jobs. We tend to neglect the agriculture sector. But I believe that agriculture sector in itself has the potential of uplifting millions of people out of poverty.
Few manufacturing activities or projects which have been which are getting implemented in the last a couple of months.
Yes, sir.
Can you recount a couple of them?
Yes, sir. The Bharatmala project, the Sagarmala project, the completion of the Golden Quadrilateral. But apart from that, close to 1 lakh crore is being spent on construction of border roads. And the capital expenditure as a percentage of GDP has been highest in the last budget. For every 1 rupee that we invest in capital expenditure, the output comes out to be rupees 3. So, and apart from that, there is also the dedicated railway plan wherein
Corridor.
So it is the railway corridor is part of that 2030 railway vision, where we'll be having the western dedicated freight corridor, the eastern dedicated freight corridor, the electrification of all the sectors, the introduction of Vande Bharat trains, the introduction of modern locomotives, all these things.
If we speak about poverty, so generally there was one economist, Naqse, and he said a country is poor because it is poor. What do you mean by that?
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay. Now I would like to ask, because you are preparing for UPSC, and what were the toughest and easiest part during your preparation?
The easiest part was that I had the support from my parents and friends, so there was not an issue of being responsible for someone's marriage or under pressure to provide for my family. So I consider myself lucky in that direction. The difficult parts were being consistent in that same journey when it's actually tiresome. You have to study continuously for so many hours daily. You have to repeat that process again and again and again. And since it is a long process, close to 1 year, you're not getting immediate results. So you are in that continuous mode of uncertainty. So that was, I believe, my biggest challenge.
Okay. It's okay. Now you please.
Okay. Now, Sumer, what is the meaning of word Sumer?
Sir, Sumer is a mountain in Uttarakhand. It is a mountain on which Guru Nanak Dev Ji did his bhakti. It's situated at an elevation of 6,500 meters. And according to Hindu and Buddhist tradition, it is the center of cosmos.
And what is Virk?
Sir, Virk is my caste.
Caste, but what is the word? Where from? The origin of the word?
Sir, from Gurjar Patihara's evolution is traced.
Is some village is also there? Virk?
Sir, I am not aware of that.
Check, please, because in Punjab, many of the surnames, castes are related to the villages. Maybe there is a village from you hail. Maybe in Pakistan.
Okay.
Just check.
So there is one Virk village in Jalandhar, and my native village in Ludhiana, Rudka, also has all the Virk families.
So this may be a relevant question.
Okay, sir.
Now the third is, what is Sarin? What is Sarin famous for? Your city, your place of birth.
My place of birth is Saran. Sir, it's an important cultural and religious center. It was the place where the two Chote Sahibzade got martyred at the hands of Wazir Khan, and later Banda Singh Bahadur defeated him.
And what were your optionals in civil services?
Sir, political science and international relations.
Political science, international relations is 1 or 2?
Sir, 1.
1.
Yes, sir.
That was in prelims.
No, sir. Prelims does not has an optional anymore now.
Acha, only GK and
CSET, sir.
awareness and what
Yes, sir.
paper is there. That IQ paper is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 1 optional in mains.
Yes, sir.
So you did not have economics.
No, sir.
You had economics in Haryana Civil Services.
No, sir. I did not appear for Haryana.
No, but in general, they have economics part.
No, it is part of general knowledge.
Yeah.
But you have good knowledge of economics as you are.
Thank
You could explain very well. Of course, सब कुछ तो नहीं पता होगा because your background is engineering. Humanities is lacking in engineering. Arts here. They are human. They are humane also, but they are not good at humanities.
Yes, sir.
So now about the economic models we were talking about. How about the Gandhian model of economy?
Sir,
How do you relate it? How do you evaluate it?
Sir, Gandhiji believed in development at grassroots level. So he wanted the development of cottage industries and industries at the Panchayati Raj level, because he analyzed the history of India and before the advent of British, the agrarian system and the economic system was such that
Your assessment of it, your views on it. Is it good or not? Had we adopted that, whether we would have been better or worse?
Sir, I believe that no system is perfect. What we need is blend of different systems according to different situations. The conditions in 1947 are completely different the conditions that we face in 2020. So in 1947, India was devoid of any major industrial sector. Hence, the decision to set up public sector undertakings with government help was the correct approach. And this was also backed up by the Bombay group of industrialists.
What about the Marxian model, Marx model, communism?
Yes, sir.
How do you evaluate it?
Sir,
Why did it fail?
Sir,
I mean, first, how do you say whether it was a workable thing or not? Socialism, communism, in economy model also,
yes.
And different variants. And why did it fail?
Sir, in traditional sense, socialism stands for collectivization of all the resources. So in initial years, if we take example of Soviet Union and China, they were able to collectivize their resources and achieve good output. But once this collectivization benefits diminished, the economy went into a decline because the scope of innovation is very less as far as the Marxist or socialist economy is concerned. The economics is so dynamic that government cannot plan everything. It cannot become the distributor as well as allocator. And that is what we saw in the likes of Soviet Union. Whereas in India, we see an Indian version of socialism and has been reiterated by various Supreme Court judgments, where we have given liberalization as far as agriculture sector and small scale industries is concerned. And we went on a socialist path as far as the financial sector is concerned and the heavy industrial sector is concerned. And during the initial years, I believe that was correct because of the prevailing, not only the political, but also the economic and the strategic realities of that time.
You said that agriculture can hold more people for employment, whereas there is already disguised unemployment and it is not remunerative otherwise also.
Yes, sir.
How do you justify your statement?
Sir, our prevailing attitude towards agriculture has been shaped by Western experiences where the percentage of population employed in agriculture is about 4 to 5%. Whereas in Indian way, the agriculture employs close to 50 to 60% of population. And during Mughal times, during Gupta period, what we saw that the whole agriculture economy was independent in itself and was remunerative. So that's what I am talking about. That not only agriculture in isolation, but also horticulture, making agriculture as a way of life rather than just as an occupation that is able to earn you money. India has one of the highest agriculture arable lands in the world.
Ma'am has been emphasizing about the poverty elimination and all that.
Yes, sir.
Do you think if there is no stratification in the society, equality, and everyone is having a lot of money, is it good for the economy and society?
So I believe it's a utopia where everyone is going to have.
But otherwise, for economy also, it is a disaster. You don't have the people who will do the menial jobs. Even labor, even in the industrial labor, in the Punjab where people are rich, there is nobody to harvest the field.
Sir, I would prefer to have this problem rather than having a problem where people do not have money to eat. The biggest problem of everyone having money would be increased consumerism and increased pressure of environment. But as far as doing these jobs is concerned, I believe if demand occurs, then we will go through the route of automation and other alternatives, as we have seen in Western countries. In Punjab, during the COVID times, when the availability of labor was very difficult and the prices of labor had almost doubled, we introduced the direct seeding of rice for paddy transplantation. It does not require any labor and it is completely mechanized.
Thank you from myself.
So, Sumer,
Yes, sir.
what do you feel?
Your assessment.
Your self-assessment.
So maybe I need to work more on economics.
No. It's not your field. Whatever you have told is more than for your background.
But ठीक है, brushing up is required.
Yes, sir.
No, preparation is always good.
Yes, sir.
But don't feel guilty that you have not. You have answered most of the question, but I will say कि थोड़ा सा slow answer करें कि वो compose कर लेना answer को. But otherwise you are super. I mean बहुत knowledge है, vast है, versatile है, और energy level is very good, confidence level is very good. I don't know.
Communication.
Your knowledge, your way of conveying what you know, application of knowledge, your passion. The moment you are thrown upon a question, the way you quickly analyze and handle it, that is also marvelous. I think you will carry the day. It should be a cakewalk for you if you carry on this path. When is going to be your interview? There is a lot of time, I suppose.
Yes, sir. The date will be announced on 15th Feb. I have my interview after 10th March.
10th March. So there is a lot of time.
Sufficient time is
And
there.
I feel you have appropriate synchronization. मतलब, you are communicating and the proper coordination is there. What is it present in your mind, you are communicating. It's not that in mind something else is going on and you're speaking. You're communicating.
Communication is very
And your smile is wonderful.
And off the cuff, I would say, off the record, when I was talking to you on various defense and security related activities, which you mentioned to me that that's your passion. So I was getting the feeling that as if I'm talking to an army or armed forces officer rather than a boy who has just graduated after doing his engineering and now he's pursuing his dream of qualifying for the civil services. So that is fantastic. Not only your knowledge, the way you explain the things, you will beat most of the present day officers who have got so much of experience in handling and utilizing those resources.
You have worked on it. I mean, you know that you want to go into this field, but how do you justify your coming to the civil services when your interest lies in defense?
That is a question that I'm trying to work on.
Civil and defense are two different fields. Military and civil are totally unrelated.
So I believe bureaucracy plays a very big role. We need greater synergy between bureaucracy and the military because the procurement is done by the bureaucracy.
No, in fact, I tell you, just general comment that in bureaucracy there is hardly any appreciation for knowledge of defense and military because the bureaucrats are file pushers basically. They are hardly doing any exercises. I mean, the exercises you call defense exercises and physical exercises. Their work is more of mental nature. But this question will definitely crop up for you. Why, if you have with the engineering background and movie armament ki liking ke, and you are coming to civil services, which is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means file pushers, babus. They are all babus. I mean, I tell you, there is no scope for innovation or path-breaking thinking or something strategies and all that. Hardly any strategies. They are only beating the often beaten track. So I'm just telling this question will be most challenging question for you.
So I will just elaborate upon what Sarah said. Don't highlight this part that your ultimate goal is to be a part of DAC.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that will be totally misfit. inexplicable. The rest part can be justified in some manner. You know, for the last more than 20 years, there has been a lot of effort in synergization. You know, as of now, there are about 20% of armed forces officers who were posted in Ministry of Defense and allied departments, and vice versa also. Many bureaucrats are physically working in Army headquarters, Air headquarters, and Naval headquarters. And now it is no more called as Army headquarters. This old term is still being utilized, or Naval headquarters or Air headquarters. It is called Integrated Headquarters, Ministry of Defense. Even a letter going from the letterhead of Army headquarters, it will say Integrated Headquarters of Ministry of Defense. Okay, so because this after Kargil war, especially if you have studied that report, Kargil Committee report, it said so that initially there were setbacks in fighting there because of total lack of synergy, not only between the three services. Navy, of course, was very little contribution, but primarily between Air Force and Army, but also with the bureaucracy and Delhi, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of External Affairs, Defense, of course, they were headlong involved that. So now this wisdom has dawned that we should have a joint approach. So even Ministry of External Affairs guy, he will be posted to Army headquarters. And a guy from Army headquarters, uniform guy, he will get into the Ministry of External Affairs, so that they jointly understand each other's psychology, way of working, and if it comes to actual war and creating that synergy on ground, we understand each other thinking, each other values, ethos, culture, and that kind of silos are not there. So that is the way you can explain that if you go tomorrow as a bureaucrat, how you are going to effectively utilize your services. Okay, but don't bring in this part, defense acquisition council, because that is not even, I thought, 5% of the overall scenario.
You may not get a chance to go there even if you are interested. You can say that you have interest, just curiosity of this thing, because
I think there is no need to mention it.
Since he is this thing motivated,
may be asked.
He will get confused.
How will you justify your coming to this after engineering, after metal, and after your interest of armament and civil services? They are not interrelated in any way. But you will say that you have interest in those fields because of engineering, because of gunmetal and metal being used in armament. But if you get a chance to go there, you will be having your interest. Otherwise, you have a very, very versatile interest. You have very versatile interest, because you have told about economics also. No, ma'am did not ask about sociology anything. Even I did not ask. Sociology is the weak point. Humanities is the weak point of engineering people. So मैं भी नहीं पूछ पाया कोई सवाल, लेकिन सोशियोलॉजी को जरूर पक्का थोड़ा सा और कर लेना. इकोनॉमिक्स आपकी पहले ही अच्छी है, बाकी नॉलेज तो आप पहले से ही
good knowledge, you can convey it nicely, good hold over the language. So a good personality, good pleasant demeanor.
But I will give 2 points, Sumer, from the point of view of interview. You should diet plus your workout. You should start immediately.
I've started. I've lost about 6.5 kgs.
Okay, that's good.
By
And
March end, you will lose a lot more.
Yes, sir.
interview purpose, your dressing sense may be altered.
No, ma'am, I am. Yeah, I'll change it. This is
So
not the
first
formal
you get,
dress.
Yes,
first
sir.
you get slim, you reduce your weight,
Yes.
then you wear your blazer and professional
Yes, ma'am.
attire. Yes. Otherwise, everything is good. Everything is excellent.
all positive.
Thank you.
So I think you will crack this interview also, and you are going to
You are
be successful administrator.
above because others, because you are going for civil services, central civil services, and you are capable of doing that. And some more were there, which we have encouraged them to go for central civil services. Who are capable. Most of them are capable.
You're so active, so agile, so lively, but you know the weight, the body reflects lethargy, and these things. So
वो
it should be,
dress भी informal किया हुआ.
it should be reduced.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
ठीक है.
it's okay, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.